The story dives deep into the life of Kenna Rowan, a woman whose past is as painful as her determination to rebuild her future. Imagine this. You're released from prison, you've lost the love of your life, and your child has been taken away from you. Every face you see reminds you of what you've lost. Every place, every sound, every memory feels like a ghost of your past. But what happens next changes everything. Kenna Rowan was only 20 when tragedy struck. She and her boyfriend, Scotty Landry, were involved in a devastating car accident. Scotty dies, and Kenna survives. But survival comes with consequences. She is convicted of involuntary manslaughter. The guilt is overwhelming, but that's not the end of it. While in prison, Kenna discovers she's pregnant. She gives birth to her daughter, Diane, but the baby is immediately placed in the care of Scotty's parents, Grace and Patrick. 7 years later, Kenna is finally free. She returns to her hometown, a place filled with painful memories, with one simple yet nearly impossible goal: to reconnect with her daughter. But there's a problem. Grace and Patrick want nothing to do with her. They blame her for their son's death and believe she doesn't deserve to be part of Diane's life. And standing firmly in her way is Ledger Ward, Scotty's best friend. Ledger has been raising Diam like his own. He is loyal, protective, and unwilling to let Kenna come anywhere near her. So the story begins in a small Wyoming town. Kenna is trying to rebuild her life. She searches for a job, stability, and a fresh start. But everywhere she goes, her past follows her. She doesn't hide it, she owns it. Still, every rejection pushes her closer to desperation. And that's when things start to change. Kenna meets Ledger, but he doesn't know who she really is. She introduces herself as Nicole, and their early encounters are filled with tension, confusion, and an unexpected spark. Ledger is still grieving Scotty. He runs a bar that used to be a bookstore, a place filled with memories of Kenna and Scotty. He finds himself torn between loyalty to his best friend and the growing attraction he feels toward Kenna. And Kenna? She's conflicted too. She wants her daughter back, but she's slowly falling for the one man standing in her way. The tension builds with every moment. Kenna works at a grocery store just to survive while writing letters to Scotty. These letters are raw and emotional, filled with guilt, grief, and longing. She keeps reliving that tragic night, asking herself what she could have done differently. Meanwhile, Ledger begins to see her in a new light, not as a villain, but as someone who has suffered deeply. Slowly, the walls between them begin to break. A shared laugh, a small gesture, a moment of vulnerability. But every step forward comes with risk. One mistake, and Kenna could lose her daughter forever. Then, the story deepens. Flashbacks reveal Kenna and Scotty's relationship, their love, their flaws, their humanity. Then comes a major turning point. Kenna sees how deeply Ledger's connected to Diem, reading to her, caring for her, protecting her. And she realizes something important. If she wants a place in her daughter's life, she must first earn Ledger's trust, and trust is the hardest thing to rebuild. Now, the story takes a darker turn. The truth about the accident begins to unfold. Kenna didn't abandon Scotty. She left to get help, but confusion, timing, and her own injuries led to the tragic outcome. When Ledger learns the truth through her letters, his perspective begins to shift. But the tension reaches its peak when Patrick discovers Ledger's growing bond with Kenna. Fury erupts. In a powerful confrontation, Patrick lashes out at Ledger, emotionally and physically. It's intense and painful, but necessary. And Ledger stands firm, not just for Kenna, but for the truth. He makes them understand that Kenna never intended to harm Scotty, that she loved him and still carries that love along with her pain. Meanwhile, Kenna continues trying to connect with Diem. Every attempt is met with resistance. Every interaction carries the weight of years of anger and grief. But slowly, things begin to change. A glance, a smile, a moment of connection. Signs that healing might actually be possible. And just when everything seems clear, the story raises the stakes again. Kenna and Ledger's healings are undeniable, but their love could destroy everything if Scotty's parents refuse to forgive. Will they accept her, or will grief keep them apart forever? As the story moves toward its climax, every moment feels intense. Every word matters. And then, the resolution. In a deeply emotional finale, Ledger reads Kenna's letters aloud to Grace and Patrick. Her truth, her guilt, her love. It all comes pouring out. And finally, they understand. Grace is the first to soften. Patrick begins to heal as well, embracing Kenna with a mix of apology and understanding. And at last, Kenna meets her daughter. The moment is quiet, powerful, and filled with emotion. Diem accepts her instantly, and the years of separation fade away. Kenna's journey comes full circle, from a woman trapped in guilt and tragedy to someone stronger, healed, and ready to love again. And with Ledger by her side, a new future finally becomes possible. Because Reminders of Him is more than just a love story. It's about grief, it's about forgiveness, it's about resilience, and the power of human connection. Every letter, every moment, every risk Kenna takes reminds us of one thing: love can heal even the deepest wounds. And in the end, this isn't just a story about romance, it's a story about redemption.